Welcome back to Newsvision. I'm Candace Smith. You may soon be seeing a lot of red bicycles in D.C. It's a part of a new Department of Transportation initiative to go green by going red, getting drivers out of their cars and onto bike lanes. Newsvision reporter Charmise Wilson has the story.
D.C. residents rely heavily on their cars, public buses, and the metro to get around. But the D.C. Department of Transportation is now offering residents a more earth-friendly and economical set of wheels to get them from point A to point B. It is an initiative called Capital Bike Share. They want residents to consider cycling for those quick trips to the cleaners, banks, or restaurants.
And if we get people from driving alone and using a bike trip instead of hopping in their cars, that's one less trip on the road, that's reducing emissions.
The Capital Bike Share program will feature over 100 stations and 1,100 bikes at various district metro locations and frequently visited hotspots, including those in neighboring city Arlington. And although the official launch date for the bike sharing program is late September, DDOT began promoting the initiative earlier this summer at several community events, including Adams Morgan Day, which allowed residents to find out more about the program and try out the bikes.
I think it's a fantastic program. It's really exciting that DC is basically going to have the largest bike sharing program in the country.
According to DDOT, residents have been extremely receptive to the program, with nearly 900 people signing up for early memberships.
It's nice to make public transportation this round more accessible.
The D.C. Department of Transportation is encouraging all D.C. residents to try out the Capital Bike Sharing Program. And for those like me who don't know how to ride a bike, you might just find a new hobby. I'm Charmise Wilson for Newsvision.
And if you're really adventurous, you might want to try hopping on another set of wheels. But as Newsvision reporter Mary Goody showed us, you first need to learn some rules about how to stay safe on Segways.
Towners are on a Segway tour around D.C. and for 3 hours they'll ride by many of the city's main attractions.
We make it to a bunch of different sites around the city. The White House, the Lincoln Memorial, the World War II Memorial, Washington Monument, Capitol.
I'm interested to see how leaning forward and backward makes it go.
Segways feel where you position your weight. So if you lean forward, the machine goes forward. And when you lean back, the machine stops.
You will be so surprised about how easy the Segway is to use. People are really nervous at first, but when they start getting more comfortable, they stop paying attention.
Riding a Segway is one of the trendiest ways to take a tour around DC. And companies like City Segway Tours make safety the #1 priority.
People fall off and, scrape their elbow. Probably the worst accident I saw was an older man was riding and he just kind of toppled over and his pants ripped.
Most of the problems we do have are when people are not paying attention or they get a little too comfortable on the Segways and they start to go a little bit crazier.
Everyone hopping aboard a Segway is required to fill out medical release forms, watch a 5-minute movie about how the machine works, and go through a 15-minute orientation to get the hang of riding before taking off.
It kind of started off slow and then we picked it up.
I thought our leader did a really good job keeping us safe.
We were able to catch one accident.
Straighten your arm out.
Instead of going up a ramp, she just tried to go up a curb. Segways obviously can't jump curbs because if you go, your wheel will hit it and then you'll go forward.
The #1 advice to stay safe on a Segway.
Just pay attention.
For Newsvision, I'm Mary Goody.
Now, marathon runners don't need wheels. They run 26.2 miles on their own power. But there's a new trend that Newsvision reporter Danielle Hopkins says has some runners ditching perfectly good running shoes for a more natural approach.
Across the nation attempted to run a 26.2-mile course through Arlington and D.C. streets for the 35th annual Marine Corps Marathon. It is the 4th largest marathon in the nation, with many of the runners raising money for personal causes and charities, and some supporting the Marine Corps and other branches of the military.
I just tried to raise money for the Marines, and it was my first marathon. I myself was a Marine, as well as my brother. And I'm here to run the race with my dad today, and we had a great time.
But Bob Ewing is running to honor his mom, Fran Ewing. She was diagnosed with lymphoma 14 years ago. Ewing hopes to raise $5,000 to donate to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. He's raised $3,000 so far.
We've been doing great with fundraising, and we've had people all around the country that have donated that I don't even know.
But raising money isn't the only unique thing about Ewing's race. Over 30,000 people are participating in today's race, but Bob Ewing is one of the few running without shoes.
I encourage you to consider ditching your shoes.
Think about how much fun it was to run around outside barefoot as a kid. And now compare that to clunking along on a treadmill in your 90s.
Ewing's girlfriend, Anthony Hodge, also ran the marathon but kept her shoes on.
I don't like calluses. They're feet. I see what he does to our bathtub.
And that's why you won't see her running with Ewing barefoot. Ewing is also encouraging people to join the bone marrow registry, which helps treat both leukemia and lymphoma. I'm Danielle Hopkins for Newsvision.
And as you just heard, some folks were running to support our troops overseas. And we all know that war takes a toll on soldiers, but one organization is making sure that we don't forget what some are calling our littlest heroes. Nathan Jung carries his blanket everywhere, and it goes by many names. The superhero cape, the monster.
My happy monster blanket.
But whatever you call it, this quilt belongs to Nathan, and he's not giving it up.
It's mine.
That's because for Nathan and his parents, Kathy and John, this is more than just a quilt.
Like a virtual hug with Daddy's picture on it, not just for Nathan, but for me too.
When her husband, John, a sergeant in the Air Force, was deployed to Afghanistan last year, it was hard on the family.
I knew that I couldn't do it on my own, so I reached out to the community of support that was there.
She turned to Operation Kid Comfort, an initiative sponsored by the Armed Services YMCA. Volunteers make quilts and pillows for children of servicemen and women all across the country. The volunteers seem to get as much out of the experience as the families do. So far, volunteers have made more than 7,000 quilts.
It's a great feeling to know that you have brought a tangible quilt, something that's tangible that they can touch and hug, and that brings them joy and peace in their life.
Sergeant Jung says the quilt even helped him do a better job.
As we say, mission comes first, but families are always in the back of your mind, so it's more comforting and it's easy for you to finish the mission when you know your family's being taken care of.
Now, if you're interested in having a quilt like this made for your child, or simply being a volunteer for Operation Kid Comfort, you can visit their website at asymca.org. For Newsvision, Candace Smith. When we come back, a new trend that has faculty and students living together right after this.
In nature, we see reflections of our children. The tree is the strong one, the ocean rambunctious and untamed, and the sky the absolute dreamer. Like our children, each brings something wonderful and unique. They add color, they bring life, but most of all, they amaze. They can be as large as a mountain or as small as a blade of grass. Yet in the eyes of importance, they are all the same size. And to choose the sky over the water would be like choosing one child over the next. An impossibility as large as the world itself. EarthShare, the world's leading environmental groups working together. To learn how you and your employer can help, please visit our website,